You know that person, right? The one who just doesn't do birthdays? No party, no big fuss. They kind of just treat it like any other Tuesday. It might seem a little weird from the outside, but there's some really fascinating psychology going on here. So let's dive into why some people actually prefer a quiet birthday. I mean, it's the central question, isn't it? When someone you know skips their own celebration, you can't help but wonder, are they sad? Are they lonely? Or is there something else, something deeper that we're just not seeing? Let's try to unravel that mystery. For most of us, there's this unwritten rule book for birthdays. There's supposed to be cake, probably some presents, maybe a party. It's become this huge cultural ritual, this day where you're supposed to get a ton of social recognition. But what if you don't really want to play along? And that's the real rub with expectations, isn't it? What feels like a super fun, joyous celebration for one person can feel like a stressful, mandatory social performance for someone else. And that's exactly the conflict for people who'd much rather just opt out. Okay, so this is where we get into some really common misunderstandings. Because when someone goes quiet on their birthday, we tend to fill in that silence with our own assumptions, and, well, we're often way off base. This is the default, right? It's our go-to assumption. We see someone skipping a party, and our brain just immediately thinks, oh, they must be unhappy or lonely, maybe they're just antisocial. But what psychology is starting to show us is that this is a complete misreading of what's actually happening. So what if we looked at this through a totally different lens? Instead of seeing a quiet birthday as a sign of sadness, what if it's not about a mood at all, but about a fundamental part of someone's personality, a core trait? So the key idea here is something called low social dependency. It sounds a little academic, but the concept is actually pretty simple. It just means that for some people, their sense of self-worth, their value, comes from within. It isn't tied to what other people think or to a specific day on the calendar. They don't need that external validation to feel good about themselves. So let's break that down. People with this trait aren't necessarily antisocial, not at all. They just don't have that deep-seated need for social approval that many of us do. Their self-worth is stable, it's internal, so they don't need a big party to confirm that they matter. In fact, for them, a forced celebration can feel kind of fake. They'd much rather have something authentic over just going through the motions of a ritual. This brings up a really important question. If it's not about the party, then what is it about? It's not that they want nothing, it's that they prefer something else entirely. And you can really see the contrast laid out here. On one side, you have the whole forced social performance thing, the rituals, the big groups, the search for outside approval. But on the other side, you see what they actually prefer. Quiet, personal reflection, deep, meaningful one-on-one conversations. It's a complete shift from relying on external validation to relying on internal validation. It's about a day for self-evaluation, not social evaluation. This quote it absolutely nails it. It's not that they don't care about relationships. Quite the opposite. They value them so much that they want those quality interactions to happen organically, authentically, not because the calendar tells them it's time to perform. The real connection is the gift, not the party itself. So, after all this, what's the big takeaway? I think it all comes down to totally redefining what a celebration even means in the first place. So to sum it all up, a quiet birthday is almost never a cry for help. It's a deliberate choice. It's a choice that reflects a preference for looking inward rather than performing for others. And it's all rooted in that personality trait of low social dependency, where authentic, real connection is valued way more than any forced ritual. It's just a different way of being, and it's totally valid. And that's probably the most important message here. A celebration doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be a party, it just has to be what feels real and authentic to you. Whether that's a huge blowout or a quiet night in with a good book, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. If you strip away all the expectations, all the shoulds, and the rituals, what does a true, authentic celebration actually look like for you?